We're back with another episode of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale with Don and Kevin, where we explore the people and the ideas that make our city great. And Kevin, it's been 6 weeks or so.
Welcome back.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, I kind of miss it. I was starting to get the shakes.
Yeah, you escaped to California.
Just for a couple of days. You know, it was not enough time at this time of the year. You escaped for the White Mountains for a long time.
Yeah, I did. Got to go the chance to go to Pine Top and Lakeside.
You were up there for a month, weren't you?
I was up there for almost 30 days, yep.
We were taking bets on whether you were going to come back or not.
We were looking.
I lost. I said, no, you're not. They're going to find some property up there, and they're going to stay up there where it rains and gets cool at night. But we're into another season, if you want to define
this
seasons
is season
that
4,
way.
by the way.
Season 4.
Yeah.
Episode like 168 or something like that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we've been doing this for a while, but we've got the best guest ever to start our season 4 with right now, here and now, which is so wonderful. Her name is Suzanne Grindal. She's the Water Quality Director for the City of Scottsdale. And if you think that's kind of a dull-sounding title, you'd know for a fact when you find out what she does, it's not a dull job whatsoever.
Yeah.
In fact, under her leadership, Scottsdale became the first city in Arizona and one of the first in the nation to secure a direct potable reuse permit. That's a fancy way of saying making recycled water safe and available for drinking. Suzanne has been at the forefront of ensuring that our water exceeds the highest safety standards, even in the face of drought and all the climate changes that we face here in Arizona. She's here to share her journey with us, the science behind Scottsdale's innovation, and why trust in water matters now more than ever. Susan, welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you here today. Let's talk a little bit about your background first. I know you've been with the city since 1999, probably in a bunch of different jobs. But talk about where you grew up and how your career journey led to where you are today.
Okay, yes, I grew up in Nebraska. Graduated from college there and did a little stint in Vermont. So I was in the Northeast for about 6 years and then moved here to Arizona to get into a warmer climate, actually.
You did that for sure.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Like everybody else.
Spent the first 12 years of my career actually in the private sector in environmental laboratories. And then took the job with the city, as you said, in 99 and have been working for the city since then.
What kind of jobs have you been doing with them?
With the city, so I originally started as the Water Quality Laboratory Manager. So I was honored to start up the actual laboratory that we have. We built, it was the first lab the city has, and was able to start that up. And then over time, promoted to be Water Quality Director. So I still have the responsibility of the laboratory, but also the entire regulatory group.
Well, so is your degree in college in science or?
Yeah, biology.
Okay.
Yes.
That means she's just a lot smarter than you and I are.
Yeah, tons.
So we better watch it here today.
Yeah, tons.
Yeah, for sure. So what drew you into the water work in the first place, and what keeps you passionate about it today?
Okay. I actually fell into the field accidentally. I had a degree in biology, had taken a lot of chemistry, was looking for a job right out of college, and fell into a startup laboratory job, environmental laboratory, that was part of an engineering firm. And they wanted to do their own water testing in-house. So they started their laboratory to be able to do all the work they needed to be done. And so I stayed with that, was in Vermont. I stuck with that for 6 years, then moved down here and took a job as a laboratory director at a local laboratory for about 5.5 years, doing basically the same thing, but now in Arizona. And then that job led me to the city to start up the lab there.
That's fantastic. You miss Vermont?
No, I'm not really a winter girl. After about 28 years of living in snow, I'm definitely here for the sun. So.
How many cities have their own labs?
In the valley, almost all of them.
So
now
it's
varying
commonplace?
sizes. Yes, it's
Yeah.
it's commonplace, but it depends on the size of the city as to what size laboratory they may have. Some are a little more advanced than others. It depends on their choice. There are contract laboratories like I used to work in that are available if they don't have.
There's some cities, so if you don't have a lab, if you're a smaller city, would you outsource then?
Yes.
Your testing then?
Correct.
And quality? Okay.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
So Scottsdale became the first city in Arizona, maybe the first in the nation, to earn that direct potable reuse permit.
Yep.
Why was that milestone so important?
It was a milestone for the state because prior to 2018, that had been prohibited. So the drinking of reclaimed water was not allowed in the state of Arizona. And even when we were able to get our permit with the state, Maricopa County still prohibited that. And they prohibited drinking reclaimed water up until real recently, actually.
Really?
Yes. And so we'd been using reclaimed water, recycled water for a very long time, for decades.
Well, the golf courses, right? That kind of
Irrigation.
stuff, right?
Our biggest thing was we've been putting it in the ground. So when the water campus started up in 1998, we started putting the water through our advanced water treatment, and we've been recharging the aquifer ever since to make sure that the water we take out of the ground, we replenish. And so that was one of the biggest achievements Scottsdale had until we got the permit you're referencing. And it was really working with the state to be able to advance forward the use of recycled water. There's a lot of work that has to be done to get rid of the yuck factor for people to think of drinking the water. Even though we've been putting it in the aquifer, people have been drinking it out of sight, out of mind. And so we're just trying to normalize that and make it, everyone realize that we've been drinking recycled water for millennia.
Even if
You
we
just don't
know
think
it.
about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So always been curious. I knew we put a lot of water, a lot of cities put a lot of water back into the aquifer.
Yes.
How does that clean it? What happens in the aquifer to make the water drinkable again?
So soil aquifer treatment is a real thing. We did a lot of treatment prior to putting it in the ground. So we have the advanced water treatment facility at the water campus where we have ultrafiltration and reverse osmosis. But then we put it in the Veda zone. So it only is about 150 feet down in the ground, and then the rest of the work is done by nature, the soils, through that before it gets down to the hundreds of feet down till it reaches the aquifer. So it serves as a filter, can remove a lot of different things that may remain in the water. The state allows different qualities of water to be recharged into the aquifer. Scottsdale made the decision back when the water campus was built to go that kind of extra mile, add the additional treatment to make sure that we never degraded the aquifer.
So now that you don't have to worry about the aquifer, you go straight into recycling it in a way that makes it safe
Yes,
to drink.
all we're doing is removing the environmental buffer. And so we're adding additional treatment to offset the use of the environmental buffer. Before then, it could go directly into the distribution system. We aren't doing that yet. The state just in March passed their new rule that will allow that. And so right now, the cities of Tucson, Phoenix, and Scottsdale are working together with the state to try and understand how to implement it. It may still be years before we do that, but it's a long process to implement this rule. So working through that process now to understand what the rule says and what the requirements are.
So do I understand this right, that you have the capability of using this reclaimed water for drinking for a while now? You have the technology in place,
Absolutely.
but the Maricopa County was the roadblock, and they recently, how did that happen? How did they get on board?
The state just made a decision to move forward before the county was ready. I don't know how else to describe it. It's probably better to ask them. But
Okay.
The state moved forward and lifted their prohibition, knowing that this was the way of the future. It was just more treatment. You know, all the water that we have is treated for something. So we're just taking a different source of water and treating it additionally to be able to make it available for drinking.
People don't think about this. You turn your tap on, the water comes out, and you don't even think about it. Right?
Yeah, right?
But all the work that's going on behind the scenes, all the barriers that you have to overcome, the obstacles and so forth, and dealing with not only the city bureaucracy, if you will, although you deal with that all the time probably, but the state and county as well. So that's getting through a lot of hurdles, isn't it?
Yes, it will. Again, the rule is very comprehensive. We worked for the last 3 years with the state to try and get the rule put together and offer the utility perspective. And we hope that we'll be able to work through all that and be able to put the water in the system at some point once we have all the approvals to be able to do so. But as to your question, we have all the treatment necessary to do that.
Are the feds involved with overlooking any of these rules? Do you have to worry about any federal regulations?
This is not a federal regulation. The federal government does not have a reclaimed water program. Even the permit that we required to put the water in the aquifer is a state program, aquifer protection. And so this is a state program. There's a few states that have gotten programs together. It's California, Colorado, Florida, I think, is working on it. I think we were the third state, but there's a few others that are coming as well.
But you were among the first cities in the country to do this, though,
Yes,
right?
yes.
That's pretty amazing. People
Yeah.
don't know that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Another innovation in Scottsdale, where Scottsdale's the leading edge of something.
You know, if we put all the milestones that this city has achieved in terms of how you look at other cities across the nation, it'd be a long list, wouldn't it?
It would be a long list.
You know, people don't realize this sometimes about what the things that make Scottsdale special.
Yes, right.
Oftentimes things that you don't think about, the water that comes out of your tap.
Well, we live in the desert. And the water, is scarce, and we have to treat the water we have available.
Sure do. So you talked about the yuck factor before.
Yes.
I mean, people hear about recycle. That's the first thing to think is yuck. Although there is a beer that's made with recycled water.
Yeah, that
You've
was-
probably-
that
You've
was
probably
ours.
had it, Kevin. You've had every beer in the world.
Probably.
Do you remember what that was?
No.
You do.
Yeah, well, there's
is it Gold
different
water?
beers.
Okay.
They used our water. So when we had our, what we call our DPR skid, so the direct potable reuse skid, for the 5 years we carried that permit, we offered it to local breweries. We had an event called the One Water Brew Showcase at Canal Convergence event that's up on the
Really?
waterfront.
I
Yes.
remember that. a
And
little
so we
bit.
had
Yeah.
anywhere between 8 and 10 breweries that made beer with our water, our recycled water,
Right.
and offered that at that event. We did taste testings also in addition at a lot of different events, just to, again, get the people to realize it tastes like water. There's nothing different about it.
I saw somewhere where you were one of the first to go ahead and taste it. You were,
I was one of the first few. I mean, I've been
to
around
prove
for
that
a
it
while,
was
so
okay,
yes.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you were one of those trendsetters, not only
Yeah.
developing that, but then proving that if
Yeah.
I can drink it, right?
Yeah, when we give tours to people coming in, of course, someone from staff would always be the first to take a drink because people are nervous. They have in their head what they think it's going to look like, taste like, smell like.
Right.
And so when they get this opportunity to taste the water, it takes a moment for them to get past those thoughts and take an actual drink. And then the change of the look on their face is fun because we realize and a lot of times they would just say to us, it just tastes like water, but they had a lot of other thoughts in their head as to what they thought it was going to taste like.
Wow.
So,
You would have a lot of other thoughts. So I mean, probably one of your biggest challenges, and this would be true of anybody else doing similar programs, is building public trust.
yes, correct.
How do you do that? Is there a marketing campaign? Is there ongoing messaging?
Yeah,
how
when
do you
we
do
get
that?
to that point, there will be an outreach campaign, absolutely, because we need the public to understand what we're doing. We're not trying to do this without their knowledge. We want them to trust what we're doing. When we do this, when and if we do this, it'll only be a small portion of the water that we produce. To offset the likely shortage on the Colorado River as one of our sources. It will never replace all of our water. It'll just be a small percentage, but it'll help us make up what we may lose.
Will that be in
So-
their main water supply, though, so it'll be mixed up with everything else? Or how
No, we
that
will
work?
still have surface water and well water as our main supplies. This would just augment that some.
Okay. So just
Again,
add some-
probably only 10%. It's a very small amount that we envision doing with this because the recycled water we have is currently spoken for in many different ways. So we're not intending to change that. We're just having additional supplies that we have and will come to us. We'll create this supply.
How much water does the city use on a daily, weekly, however you measure it
So
basis?
in a hot July, hot August, we can put out in a day about 90 million plus gallons of water. In the winter,
day?
a day. And in the winter, obviously we're not watering as much. It's down to 45 to 50.
Cut in half.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, the majority, 60%, 70% of the water we use is outside.
You know,
So
what
the
drives me
biggest
crazy
change
is
is irrigation.
we live in a desert and people are trying to keep their lawns like they were
Yes.
back east and so forth. And I just
Right.
sometimes I wonder, can we get a little more sensible about how we use water here? What drives me crazy, and I still see this from time to time, is people are wash down their driveways with water.
Oh,
Right.
That drives me nuts.
does it really?
Yeah, I feel
How
like
about
going
when
up-
commercial companies do it?
Well, you can't really argue. I don't see it as much when you walk around your neighborhood.
Yeah.
If somebody's hosing down the driveway.
Yeah.
Which I used to do growing up back east all the time because
Yeah.
nobody thought about it. But out here where water's a little bit more
Right.
top of mind.
Every drop counts.
Every drop counts.
And that's why the city not only the city has a really active campaign to encourage citizens to, and you have a desert landscaping
I do.
at your house.
Yeah.
And I recently went to turf
Yeah.
at my house,
Yeah.
so I don't have any grass in my house anymore
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
But the city actively encourages that, don't they? They have the programs in place.
Yeah, we have programs, conservation programs we have for decades. We continue to enhance those. One of the most recent, though this is not my area, but I'll speak to it a little bit, is the removal of grass in front yards, what's that word we use? Non-functional grass in
Non-functional,
areas that are, not needed. So not where kids play, not where, places where dogs aren't at, that kind of thing, to try and get grass removed as much as possible. There's a bigger bang for the buck outside than there is even inside.
I can bet. Yeah, for sure. Well, and then big commercial users of water too.
Yes, we
And
do.
Scottsdale's good,
Right,
more
and
and
we
more of that,
provide
right?
audits for them so to make them understand what they've got, what they're using, how they could cut back, how they can conserve. So we have a very robust conservation program.
So the reuse plan, I understand, is a national model. Can you talk a little bit about how the plant works, where it is, and what happens there?
Yeah, so the water campus is located at Pima and Legacy. So what most people, most people think of as North Scottsdale, when in fact, geographically, we're central.
I know, it's
If you
hard
look
to
at a map,
believe sometimes, I know.
but everyone thinks we're in the far north.
Right.
And the plant started up in '98. So we have a traditional, conventional water reclamation plant, and then associated with that is our advanced water treatment plant. And from the beginning, we've had ultrafiltration, microfiltration, and reverse osmosis. In 2012, we added ozone and UV photolysis for disinfection and removal of different additional chemicals. When we move towards the new permit, if we go into the distribution system, there's a couple more treatments we'll be required to add at that point to meet the new rule. It's a very robust plant. And the advanced water treatment plant was voluntary. We, again, wanted to make sure we did not degrade the aquifer. And so we added the additional treatments so that we knew the water we were putting down there.
You understand all those science terms, don't you?
No.
I'm sorry.
No, I know I do. I just kidding. No, she's doing a great job. You must be really proud. That must be a proud place to work.
Absolutely.
That must be a nice sense of camaraderie
It is.
amongst the staff,
Yes.
knowing that the city is taking an active role in being a sustainable partner. And we have sustainable water, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
do we? Right?
Yeah.
The politicians always telling me we have sustainable water. Don't worry about that. You know, it makes it sound like, I know a lot of the press will like to say that there's a huge water crisis. There may be somewhere, but in Scottsdale specifically, we're okay, right?
Well, we are facing the same shortage everyone else is on the Colorado River. So
Okay, yeah,
again, that's not my area.
Didn't I
I'm
read something
certainly
this
sure
week?
there's
Yeah.
someone who would come to love to speak to you about that. But there is a shortage coming, and what the impact will be to us, we will have to see. But I understand the rules change at the end of 2026 on the river.
Wow, that's
and
fast.
so
That's water.
something is coming, and it likely will not be as we have it now.
It's not going to be more water, that's for sure.
No, it'll be a little less
Yeah,
water.
right.
Yeah.
So what's a day in the life for you?
Day in the
like?
life for me. They're
Yeah.
never the same day.
Right.
So again, I have the laboratory. So I work at the water campus. We have our laboratory. So we have chemists and microbiologists that work there every day. So they have samples that come in, and the regulatory staff is always concerned about what the existing regulations, new regulations, reporting out data to an agency. I personally, right now I'm spending a lot of time on advanced water purification, the next step of what we're calling direct potable reuse. We change the acronym daily, it seems like sometimes. But so I spend a lot of time working with staff, the other cities, the state, trying to understand how we could implement this rule when we get there.
It's interesting, Kevin. It seems like as much as you do to conserve and reuse the water and take care of this precious resource, if you will, we're still, like you said before, at the mercy of the state. We're not an island by ourselves.
Right.
So the more you are able to reclaim and do wise use of water, it doesn't mean you're going to get more. So does it? How does that work with the rest of the allocation
Well,
with all the rest of the cities?
the reason we have focused on the recycled water, advanced water purification, is because it is almost sustainable, because people are always going to be doing everything they do in their home that sends that water to us,
Right.
and not likely to cut that back. So you could consider it a renewable resource. It's a very different type of renewable than you might normally think of as surface water or river
Yeah.
as renewable. Very different from groundwater, which is not renewable. Or it takes so long, you almost consider it not renewable. So that's why we put some focus there, because we're experts at treating water. This is just a different water to treat. We have additional treatment for it because of the source that it is, but we're not afraid of it. We're good at it and excited about doing it.
How can we get other cities to follow that lead to make wiser use of the water that's available? How does the whole water reuse sort of fit into Arizona's long-term water strategy?
I think it will, and certainly for many communities, it's a huge investment, though, and it can be daunting, that figure. Scottsdale, fortunately, because we've had the water campus for 27 years now almost, our investment is much less than others, because we have most of the plant we already need. We only have to add a few things to it, as compared to other cities would have to build at least the advanced water treatment part of it from scratch.
So money is an obstacle to get it started.
Money
but
is a huge obstacle.
What kind of
yes.
pressure might people like Kevin and I put on other cities to consider this?
Yeah.
Well, obviously it's something they would have to have an interest in taking on, the complexity of doing this kind of work. they would have to have the need. Every valley city or any city in the state, we all have a different water portfolio. We're all in the desert, and we're all facing the same shortage, but we all face a different percentage of shortage, so to speak. So that may determine whether they do or they don't. It may depend on what the will is of the people who make the grand decisions. And
You mean the politicians?
Yeah.
No, they always make wise decisions, don't they?
They're really smart.
Okay.
Well, we've had a lot of wise decisions made in Scottsdale, I have to
That's a
say.
good thing.
Hence the reason we have what we have. Yes.
Exactly right.
Did Mesa build a recent by the baseball stadium? What's Mesa got going on over there by the Cubs? Is that a new treatment plant?
I actually don't know. I'm sorry.
All right, that's all right. I know that was recent. I saw it being built.
Might be
Seems
a
like it
new.
was
It might be a
10 years
new water
ago.
plant. It's not reuse water, but it might be a new water plant. I don't know. I'm not
Just
sure.
seems like
either.
it's fairly new. Anyway.
Yeah, everything seems like it's new around here sometimes.
No
doesn't
kidding.
it? Yeah.
Don has a pool. Should he fill in his pool or?
Oh, that's a personal choice.
But right
but
now
our
I'm
pool-
going to.
No, but is pool pool water and people you need to fill the pool? Is that a drain on our water system at all? Or
Well,
is
as you can imagine, pools take a lot of water. There's a lot of evaporation from there, but they bring a lot of happiness to people too.
Sure.
So it is a personal decision as to where you think you can cut back the most, whether that be your pool, whether that be your turf, whether that be the type of plants in your yard. There's a lot of different ways to cut back.
See, I take the desert landscaping so I can fill my pool up with water.
I think you should.
So I'm in the game, man.
I think you should drain your pool and turn it into a skate park.
If I drain the pool, I'll turn it into a big flower garden. How's that sound? Then I'll need water.
You do have
That's
you do
not
have a
gonna-
lot of plants
It's,
replaced.
it's not going to work too well. Curious, I think I was reading something just the other day about how when you can test the water for what's happening in your community as it relates to diseases like COVID and so forth. How does that work? Does that come into your laboratory when you're
We
tracking
get asked that
stuff?
question every single tour nowadays.
Do you, right?
And so the answer is yes, laboratories can test for COVID in wastewater. And during COVID, it was determined that it could be used as an indicator. Generally, 2 weeks prior to having an outbreak, you could detect it in wastewater, so you might know it was coming. We did set up for the testing more to prove to ourselves we could do it, and we could do that kind of microbial testing than we ever used it as an indicator in the community. We do a lot of testing for different pathogens. We do indicator testing for viruses. We do Giardia, Cryptosporidium. Those are two parasites that often are heard of out there in the world. And we have to have treatment that remove those. So we do that monitoring in-house.
It's interesting, but you can discover in the water that they're coming into their lab.
Where did
right?
you read that at? Were you reading Science Magazine or something?
I prepare for these things, man.
Yes, you do,
I
man.
prepare for these things.
Wow.
No, I was reading. There was, I think it had something to do with there's another vaccine coming down the pike, a different COVID vaccine. But they can find out where COVID is happening now by the way they're treating water in cities across the country.
Yeah.
And other.
Yeah, a lot of universities set up to be able to do the monitoring to help provide information for public health purposes. We were not involved in that, but it is absolutely a possibility.
Is that in your laboratory? Is that where you guys do the testing?
We did.
So that's part of what
Again,
you do?
Yeah, it was just a brief time that we did that to, again, to understand what could be tested in wastewater, to understand what was there, and you apply that to anything that might come down in the future.
Have you ever had anything come in that you tested and said, "Oh my God, where'd that come from"?
No, no, we're fairly fortunate, as you both know, that Scottsdale is not an industrial city.
That helps.
That does help. And so we don't have the types of industries where they're going to send us something that we're terribly worried about.
Yeah.
However, we do that monitoring. What we get questioned on a lot in tours is pharmaceuticals, personal care products, hormones, and we do testing for that. They're not regulated yet, but again, we wanted to know that we were not putting those into the aquifer, so we've been doing testing as well as the treatment for those for decades.
There's
You have to
more.
forgive Don. He's from Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
That's where that's where that question came from.
Yeah, we drink the water in Pittsburgh
Do
too.
you
man.
really?
Yeah, we don't worry about it there either. Yeah, exactly. That's why I have so much hair on top of my head. That's right. That's the way it works, right? So what lessons that water-stressed communities around Arizona can learn from what Scottsdale is doing, either through your program or through other practices that the city's put into place?
I would say, again, in my experience, the forward thinking that Scottsdale had, we had some visionaries in the 90s, I guess probably starting in the 80s, and then eventually started building in the 90s to realize we are a desert community. Water is finite. We need to find ways to use that water and to recapture every water source that we have. Used to be, we called it wastewater because it was a waste product. No one wanted it. No one wanted anything to do with it. And we were able to turn that waste product into something usable. And yes, we water golf courses with that. No one else wanted the water. And so we set up contracts with the golf courses to irrigate them. And they paid the cost. They paid their way for that. And then the rest of the water that they don't take, we put it in the ground. So it's a matter of, looking forward into the future, not looking at today. Oh, today is fine. We get people all the time, oh, the drought's over, we got rain. And understanding that that's not the case. You only have to drive to Lake Mead for a minute and take a look at what's there or not there. But to be able to anticipate what's needed and to sometimes it is taking a risk, whether that be financially or technologically, to make a path forward to make sure that's going to be a secure resource.
Who were some of the city's leaders who were responsible for us being so innovative in this area? Was that city staff? Was it elected officials? Was it a combination of both? I mean, who should we recognize for that?
So at the time, I wasn't here at the time, but I know as we always call the man who thought of the water campus, his name was Leonard Duker. He at the time was the head of the water department.
Okay.
And again, forward thinking that the city needed to do something with basically a commodity. Why not keep it, use it for something, and quit sending it to Phoenix, which we do, and it's a great partnership we have with the city of Phoenix. The wastewater in South Scottsdale still goes to Phoenix because we can't pump it all up to the campus.
Yeah, that's an uphill climb.
Yeah, right. It is, absolutely. And so Leonard was the one who came up with the idea, and then from there, we had a lot of people after him that then brought it forth, got the money available to then start the building in the 1990s. So
When
he's the one
Mayor-
who's attributed to the concept of the water
Is that right?
campus.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought she was
He's
gonna
no
say-
longer with us.
Right, yeah.
But
Really?
yes.
I thought you were going to say, Mayor, drink water.
I thought
Oh, good one.
fire today.
Oh, I like that one. I'll have to use that one.
He's got to be involved with that. He was in the 90s, right? Yeah.
And he may
I
have
know
been,
that.
honestly, Leonard is the name I've always heard. Beyond that, I'm sure there was a lot of city officials that were involved in all that.
Well, it takes leadership. It takes
Yes, it
leadership to be
absolutely
innovative,
does.
and it takes leadership to
Yes.
get things done.
To allocate those original funds, I'm sure was a bit daunting.
Well, people have ideas all the time, but getting the ideas into reality sometimes can be
Exactly.
a challenge. For
Right.
sure. What
Yep.
do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun?
Water sports?
Well, I do a lot of outdoor sports.
Okay.
So I'm a very outdoors person, camping, running, hiking, biking. So, yeah.
Enjoying all that Arizona has to
All of-
offer.
yes,
all that
absolutely.
Scottsdale has to offer.
Yes.
It's been a fascinating conversation.
She's a scuba diver.
No.
Diving deep now, man. We're diving deep. That's for
That's
sure.
awesome. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. You're one of our unsung heroes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Doing the kind of
Absolutely.
work behind the scenes
Thank
that
you.
nobody ever really knows. Nobody
Yes.
pays attention to. I still fear, probably the day after I'm long gone, when you turn on your water faucet, suddenly you're going to be paying $1 a gallon or $2 a gallon for water, and realizing just how precious this water
Absolutely.
resource really is in a place like all across the country, but particularly in the West.
Well, and I don't think people realize, we have staff working 24/7, 365. We don't get Christmas Day off because everyone expects the water to be at their tap.
People
Right.
turn the taps on Christmas Day too.
Yeah.
There's
So
take
we
a
don't get to
holiday,
turn them
right?
off.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone wants to know there's fire protection.
Yeah, that helps.
And so, yeah, right. Everyone that runs our treatment plants, our distribution system, our collection system, no one knows they exist until we have a bad day, and then everyone wants to know who we are. We're a very back room division for sure, and we don't mind it being that way. But at the same time, there is a lot of great things that we've done.
You guys got some accolades, right? I mean, you've
Yes,
won some
absolutely.
awards, right?
Got a
Yes,
bunch of awards.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, you're one of those kind of departments that nobody knows about until it's not there.
True.
Like APS,
Yeah,
when the power,
right.
I don't think about the power being on, I think about when the power's off.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
The
Right.
same thing with
Yeah.
water. But I can't think of a time when the water's never gone off. Has that ever happened where there's been a water stoppage?
If there, no, not like I think what you're implying. Occasionally we'll have a water main break. We'll have something.
Right.
We have to replace a water meter. The water will be shut off briefly. We talk to the resident or the neighborhood and say for these hours when we have to do work.
Yeah.
But it's scheduled, it's planned. Sometimes we have main breaks. They're not planned, obviously, but it's a very brief amount of time. And
Makes
we work,
total sense.
again, we'll work through the night to get the water back on if we have to.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Any other questions, Kevin, for Suzanne?
No, we've been wanting to get somebody from this water department for a very long time, so we're finally glad she got her on. Can we get Billy a tour, our engineer, a tour of the water plant?
Sure.
Does Billy want one? Yeah, does
Yeah.
he? Yeah. All right.
He wants to know more about if it's
Yeah,
safe to drink the
absolutely.
water in Scottsdale.
Yep.
I
Yep.
want
I know
to
it
see a
is.
picture of him drinking some recycled water.
Well, and if you'll let me,
He's
I'd like
doing
to.
it right now.
So just a little reference, if I can, we have a Water Citizens Academy.
Yes, you
Oh, you
do.
do?
We have.
Okay.
It's coming up. It's
Yeah.
already filled, but we hold it every spring and every fall. And so for 5 Wednesday nights in September, October, and in March and April, we bring about 35 of our citizens in from Scottsdale to learn about all things water.
And it's already full already for November?
It's already,
for fall?
yeah, we opened up registration. It was full within 30 minutes.
Are you kidding me?
We're that popular.
My goodness. And that's before this podcast.
That's right.
It's going to be over the top now, man.
Well,
yeah.
if people are interested, we do have information on the website. They can contact us and get their name on a list so they can be informed when registration opens in the spring.
Are you still guys going to be in the Parada del Sol this year?
We usually have a presence at the Parada, definitely.
I'm an announcer, so
Okay.
I look
Pay
forward to
We
it.
usually have
Give
our
them an
water
extra
truck
boost.
there.
Yeah, give them an extra
Yeah.
boost, Kevin.
Yep.
Let them know who they are. Suzanne, what a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
helping us understand how innovation and science and public trust are shaping the future of water in Scottsdale, if not in all of Arizona. And thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend and subscribe for more conversations that make Scottsdale great. See you next time for Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale.